Well, how you doing? Dan Collier here again, and I thought we would hang out for a few minutes and talk about the situation going on. Now that Christmas is over and the election craziness has all taken place, a lot of people are getting extremely complacent. And let me say why this is important to you. Because most of you who are watching my videos, you're on that borderline of wanting to learn about historical things, hidden history, things being kind of messed up, with the school systems. Why am I always having a hard time in life? The devil's keeping me down, that sort of thing. And let me tell you about this, why I almost quit. Well, I did quit for a while. And the first time I began this journey waking people up was way back after 9/11, 2001. I discovered what was going on. I used to live with some special forces guys. I used to train certain people, my martial arts school. And I was privy to a lot of stuff that normal people don't get to talk about. And the fact that I was a Christian and had been going to Sunday school and reading the Bible since I was very young opened up my eyes to making connections between Book of Revelation stuff, biblical prophecy, and the fact that these people carrying out these events in the world seem to be on a pathway of following an anti-Christ narrative because it was so evil. And they all seem to be doing the same thing. Now, as I got older, I went into college and I was, I basically was interested in majoring in partying and girls. So that was college for me, but I had to pick a major of some sort, So I picked business because, my grandfather was an entrepreneur and, everybody I knew that broke out of the whole matrix of things became entrepreneurs. They didn't do it by going 9-to-5 job route. So I decided to go into business and I wanted to be self-employed someday, which I ended up being my entire life. Except for a few short stints where I did things like became a fireman and stuff like that for a while. But anyway, you don't care what I did. The premise of this is that after 9/11, I noticed something was really weird about the fact that took place, and the next thing, all of a sudden, all these new laws start coming out. There's all this surveillance stuff, and it was all in the name of protecting us. And I didn't understand how the whole thing took place. And as I began praying about it, investigating, and I asked God to really reveal to me what is going on. Tell me what happened with this entire event. Things began to unfold in an incredible manner. I didn't even want them to be what I discovered. So all of this is very vague because if I try to explain it to you, it took me an entire book to write to get down what these people have been doing to us since we were children and how their manipulation keeps you enslaved. It's exactly like the Matrix and how it keeps us enslaved. I was my entire life trying to live out movie fantasies. So whatever was in the movies or TV shows of who was cool, what people applauded the most, how you could be the hero. I was in the hero princess mode of things from movie influences. And of course, they did that to us since we were little kids and cartoons and toys and all of that stuff. The people that wanted you and I to get jobs and go in the military and be a fireman and do whatever we did, they started when we were children. And in fact, they started all the way back to our grandparents' time, or great-grandparents' time, training them to train us, and then reinforcing it through the movies and the entertainment business and all of that. So it's been a big plot leading up to this very point now. So much so that it's gone to the point where it's spilled over to where they've erased moral Christian-based America, where you have all these people coming over here, and a lot of them fleeing religious persecution, coming to America and establishing colonies, suffering, working hard, unimaginable, no air conditioning, no heat, having to grow their own food. You know how hard all that is, have to get up and hunt every day, go bring a pail of water, whatever. You have no clue what they went through so that we could live our lives now. What I discovered was what they escaped from Europe followed them here like a virus. And the people behind the virus in Europe are the virus in America today. Now, 9/11 was the tipping point for me to wake me up. And it did wake me up. And so I prayed about it. I learned who was behind all of this. I can't say every person's name who was behind it, because then you would just have to, lie about it. Or like happened to me at first, before I removed a lot of people's names, I was getting followed by, I got followed by Mercenary halfway down the East Coast. I got poisoned one time. Lots of fun stuff like that before the people involved in a lot of that stuff died off now. It's been 24 years or so, and a lot of them got really old, they died or whatever, and that information is now out there. However, I spent, from that point in time, I tried to wake people up, because I says like, oh my God, America's been taken over. This is what's happening. They're trying to get us into a war. And what I found is, even from family, even from people I tried to, I started out with Alex Jones time. I started out with David Icke time. I started out with all the old guys who started trying to wake people up. Except I just would not sell myself out to some kind of fake character, or to a production company owned by some mega corp or somebody, oil company, who was going to steer or push me in a direction where I would not be able to tell people the truth about things. So all these people that show up on your screens, who have multiple, you see them everywhere. They have shows, they have appearances everywhere and stuff. That doesn't happen from them simply putting some videos up online. There's always something, someone picks them up, production companies backed by a certain agenda, political field, big money in the background, and syndicates them, puts them everywhere. And to you, you think they're just showing up somewhere. Well, I didn't sell out. But over time, I kept telling people, everyone I could, I kept sharing it, trying to get information out, videos. And what I was finding was, you remember the old movie, The Matrix, when Neo or one of the hero characters was trying to do something, and the next thing you know, all of a sudden you'd see the character turn, and it would turn into Mr. Smith, the bad guy. And that's what I would face from most people as I would reveal the truth about America, about the foods they were eating, about the television shows and how everything was working. I would reveal this stuff to try to save their life or save their family, and most of all, to prevent them from going to a war and dying for a small Middle Eastern country who was profiting and caused all of this to happen with 9/11. It was all an inside job, right? Well, what I found was people didn't care. They didn't care they cared to the extent that, one, it didn't change the routine of their life, or that they didn't have to rearrange who they thought the heroes were. So if they believed that George Bush was their Republican presidential hero, well, if I was telling about something going on with that event, they didn't want to hear that. That changed their paradigm. That caused them to have to put effort into protecting themselves, and that was too hard. Like a fat person who wants to take a pill instead of eating healthy or going to the gym. The same thing works in the political realm when talking about how things work. So you're a smart person. You understand how these things happen. But in the psychological realm, what ends up happening is everyone is susceptible to their preemptive programming. And sometimes it takes something large to break that. So scale on down the road here, about 20 years, we enter into the pandemic. And I tried to warn people based off of the knowledge I had, and it was extensive in knowing how they operate, this shadow government. So I go out, I'm trying to warn people. They don't want to hear it. Even the people who are borderline, like believe in UFOs and stuff, they're walking around with masks on. I said, that's the worst thing you could do. Don't wear the mask. Don't comply. I couldn't get them to stop. Very, very few. We're talking about the same as the people who understood that 9/11 was an inside job and all that stuff, and got called kooks and conspiracy people and fringe and whatever. Come pandemic time, they did the same thing. Oh, you're kook, you're fringe. Oh, there's no way that they would put anything bad in a virus or into a shot and give it to people. There's no way. That's not possible. It could happen. But now we're in this position all this time later, several years later, now it's undeniable, and people are trying to wake up. They're trying to see that, okay, you twisted my arm. I have to admit there's something, I don't want to talk about it too deep, but there's something about that shot. And yes, millions of people died, but let's move on. Trump's getting in office now, and everything's going to be okay. It's going to fix it. So I tried to warn people about the shot, and some people listened, and some of my friends are no longer with us now. They wouldn't listen, and one of them had a heart attack a day and a half later after getting one of the shots. So here we are in this position now. And if you think they're done with the pandemic, that was the trial run. It didn't work for them. If you think they're done with what's going to happen, you're completely mistaken. And if you think that electing a president or selecting a president or having one pick that you like ends up in office, if you think this is going to fix things, you're completely wrong again. And I'm trying to help a lot of you who are on this path where you think that if they just would get a president in office, then I could go about my day and not have to stress any. I could get my little soundbite from the news and then I could relax. But it's not going to work like that. The people who get in office are selected in the office by the power brokers that are people, a very small group of people just like you and me, except they're wealthy. They're like us, but they're wealthy and they're evil. Okay? So evil, human, partially human, and they have a lot of money. And they have a religious belief system that has united them, the upper echelon, for 2,000 years. This 2,000 year process has been pushing them and working them and moving them towards a world government where they're in control. Their against Christ figure will come in. They can rid the planet of all of the cattle, us humans, not part of their religion. Rid the world of the cattle, except for enough to act as slaves and workers and turn the knobs and the wheels to benefit them in this paradise they think they're going to bring about. Now, if you haven't fallen off the rails trying to ignore this now, it's an absolute fact, and it can be proven. They've done it to us by hiding our history, which I go through in the book I wrote and show examples of how they hid the history, and you can't deny it. You're like, okay, here's a major event. It took place in every city, in the major cities of the world. It's undeniable. There it is. They lied about when they built the buildings. They lied about the history about this timeline of everything. And I can't deny it. There it is. It's an absolute proof, and it's hidden. I never heard about it my whole life. They lied about the millennial reign of Jesus taking place. Oh my God, oh, my pastor would tell me, heresy. Come on, give me a break. I've been studying this for a long time. They took over the biblical teachings within the churches. So about the 76 years ago, with the formation of this new small Middle Eastern country that's attempting to run the United States, they had to get control of the Christian church. And they needed the Christian church to become Judas and go back to them and leave Jesus. Okay? So they did that through televangelists, getting all of the pastors to start teaching this message that we needed to support, pay for, fund militarily, and go to wars and die for against Christ. So they have been doing that through the Christian church, which led to the fall of the church from where it was to this happy clappy rock and roll lesbian pastor churches now. And that is to where now England, you can't even recognize the churches there. In America, a lot of people who are truly faithful and Christian don't even go to church anymore. So I'm running all down this for you because Donald Trump, his cabinet is going to be about 75% of people who are dual citizens to this foreign nation who's against Christ as a national religion. Now, for every American, for the majority, since America is considered a Christian nation, do you think that your problems are going to get solved when the cabinet of the president making the elections and selections and decisions is 75% against your religion? And what if that 75% against your religion. Also controlled most of the universities. 75% of the faculty at the major universities were also dual citizens or against Christ. What about the major corporations? What about the financing and banking and lending? What about your entertainment? What about news? What about every facet of your life was a member and a participating donor to the religious system that believes 85% of the non-people, people not of their religion, needs to be wiped out of the planet, and the remainder need to be brought in as workers for them, slaves, right? So if you have 75% of your country with all your major communication, social media platforms, all of these things are being run and controlled by members of this group who make up less than 0.5% of the total population of your entire country, and they're controlling this narrative across the board. What if you could know for sure that this was taking place? What they were doing, how they were doing it to you, what they've done to you since you were a child, how to stop it, how to get it out of your life, what areas they're using to make your life suck, and they are. If you could find out what they were, would you spend a few minutes a day glancing over some information to tell you how they were doing it to you? And then would you spend a few minutes figuring out how to reverse it and get them out? Okay? Would you do that? I don't think you would. I think you would go watch football. I think you would hope somebody else would come on the news and eventually tell you that it's all fixed. I think you would go out to dinner. You'd go out to P.F. Chang's and spend $100 and do something like that. But you wouldn't spend time. You wouldn't spend time actually learning it. You would keep waiting to watch another video on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding with you. So, all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you that this is the initial. This is the initial book. It's a course, and I put it into a book, proving to you for a fact how, what, when, where, why, and what they're doing to you, and how they hid the information about Jesus because they're against Christ, how they interject themselves into your lives in every aspect, how they own property in your subconscious right now since you were a child and you need to get them out. And then this book, once you realize, this is a course, once you realize how they're doing it, just like with the pandemic, they won't be able to fool you anymore. And this book will tell you how to reverse it and how to recover and live the life that God intends you to live, free of their mental prisons. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a package course together where you can get both of these right here, both of these. And I could get, look, at this point in time, let me tell you something. I already know this information. I can protect my family. And all of my friends know this information by now. But you don't know this information. And it's why your friends and family, some of them aren't with us anymore from the last pandemic. But something else is coming. They're not going to stop. And if you don't know how they're doing it and how to reverse stuff, you're going to end up, or someone in your family is going to suffer because you wanted to watch football or you wanted to spend some time saving $20 or $30. Like, $20, I'm not going to spend that. That's fine. I'm at the point now, just like I said, I quit before. I could care less. If you want help, I'm offering you help. I care so much. I dedicated 24 years of my life trying to help and save people. But I'm done trying anymore. I'm offering you a way to find out how the deep state is doing this to your life. And if you want it, I'm going to offer it as digital downloads now. No more, I used to sell the books through Amazon and all this stuff to all the old heads who are like, I don't want to read nothing digital. I want a book. Let me tell you something. Amazon takes, by the time they're done with it, they take over half of whatever profits you could even make out of something. They take it. They find a way to get it. So I'm not going to give evil Amazon, any more money. I'm going to offer it as a digital download where you can get it instantly. Anytime you're in a car, wherever you're at, you can pull it up on your phone and read it, or on your computer or whatever. You can do the old swipey thing with your fingers and it'll read the page to you like an audiobook. I'm going to offer that in a link in the description below. If any of you have bothered watching this long and care about saving your family and finding out why I was such an important target and why I wouldn't sell out like these other big figures in their syndicated broadcasts and stuff. I'm considering now starting my own syndicated show because I realize I realized with this last presidential election and how there's a duality going on where one side they're saying, I'm all about the American people. We're going to go back to constitutional stuff and all that kind of. Let me tell you, this is smoke and mirrors for the dual citizens to set up a place where they want things to be run. For them, they're setting this up through this current president coming in for them. It's not going to be for you. They're saying what you want to hear. But because of their religious beliefs and their plans, and this coming president supporting that, as a conservative Christian, you need to keep this part in control. You need to realize what what the money behind all this is trying to do. They're trying to set it up for them, not for you. You need to know what's in here, because you think you know, but you don't know, because you can't find it on the internet anymore. What's in here is no longer, you can't find it. There's not a place that these dual citizens haven't combed through the internet or algorithmed search to remove your ability to know it. My friends, don't get it. Whatever you do, don't get these. If you got any skepticism, don't get these digital downloads. I don't care. I don't need your money. I just want to help people. Okay? I want to help and I want to fix this problem, and it can't happen unless you participate. Unless you learn this and you grow a set and make it happen. I'm not looking for women to come do this anymore, although it's great. I fully support it. But I'd like to have some men have some cojones and get out of the damn sports, get out of wasting your time or complaining, learn something and grow some and get powerful. Because they plan on taking you over through subversive means. Unless you like some little tiny hats playing tricks on you, stealing your money, and you think keeping yourself thinking you're small. Because they like to make you feel small. Right? You're a Christian and they think it's funny. They laugh. Ha ha! They're laughing at you. Small. They laughing because they tricked you. Not because they overpowered you with a physical force or a large army of people, because he tricked you. Stop being tricked. Learn this. You won't get tricked anymore. All right, guys. That's me ranting for today, but I have to do something to try to wake people up. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can get the dual courses, the dual books together. Stop bitching about them. I'm tired of being Mr. Soft. Stop bitching about it being digital. Okay? It's information. Read it, learn it. It will save your life. Okay? I'm not giving Amazon any more money right now. I'm just not giving them. They're evil. Had enough of them, and I'm not giving them any more money so they can funnel into their anti-Christian censorship stuff anymore. All right, that's it for today. Dan Collier, the Sons of Light. Get the books there. Learn something. Save your family. Save your family. Get in the know. All right. See you later.